So Putin as well, this is an additional complication. Putin is actually quite popular among Russians as far as anybody can tell. And part of the reason for that, and I've read a lot of his speeches over the last 10 years trying to understand how he thinks, because my sense of people generally is that they do what they say they're going to do. It's very hard to generate a facade of continual lies for decades, to say one thing publicly and even privately in speeches, and then to go off and conjure up an entire new theory of the world and operate within those confines. Putin is popular partly because he's been presenting this war against Ukraine as defense of the traditional values, not only of Russia, but also of the West. And because Putin is no fan of, let's say, the woke idiocy that's gripped the West, and that's a sentiment that's echoed quite profoundly among the Eastern Europeans who would otherwise be our staunch allies and who generally are. And so that's the drum he's been able to beat to keep himself popular in Russia. And you can be cynical and say that that's merely maneuvering, propagandistic maneuvering on Putin's part. But I think the simpler explanation is that he actually believes that the West have become untrustworthy on that front and he isn't interested in the incursion of that kind of ideology into the Russian sphere. So I'm not exactly sure what to make of that. And then the notion that we're enabling the very conflict that we're trying to avoid brings me back to the problem I had at the beginning of our discussion, which is I can't figure out what the hell constitutes our victory here. It's like, even if we do win, what in the world does that mean? We want a permanently weakened Russia on the Eastern Front, and do we want them so weak that they start to lose their integrity as an economy? And then what do we do on the energy front, for example, or on the fertilizer or food front? And I don't see, as you just said, I don't see anybody talking about these things with any degree of seriousness. It's actually quite jaw-dropping to me that what we are getting is, it's something like governance by single pixel tweet. You know, we're in it with the freedom-loving Ukrainians, and like, as far as I can tell, there aren't a hell of a lot of those, by the way. We're in it with the freedom-loving Ukrainians till the end. It's like, well, what do you mean the end here? I don't understand what a Russian loss would look like. I mean, if the Americans were on the other side, there's no way you guys would lose. Like, you might not win, and maybe no one will win, but you certainly wouldn't lose. And am I missing something here, or is this discussion as shallow as it appears? Your comment that whenever you say anything that questions the story that's being laid forth about the war, you